Follow San Diego's Talk Radio 760 now for Love Real Estate Radio. Hosted by Sandra Love, it's 1 hour of up-to-date real estate info for home buyers. Get the facts for a better life and love real estate on 760 KFNB.
Welcome back. You're listening to 760 Love Real Estate. I am your host, Sandra Love. With me today in studio, we have the fabulous Deja Correa, Elvis impersonator, guru, VA guru extraordinaire.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Here you are to save the day.
It's a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. We've been talking taxes, and it's April 13th today.
Man, I know.
Taxes on the brain.
Oh, two more days, and it's going to be that long dreaded line for many people.
Me included.
Downtown. Does that still happen? I see it on the news like all the time.
I'll report back to you next Saturday.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. Well, probably. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk to Nikki Klugh. She is our interior designer. She's in studio with us. Thank you, Nikki, so much for coming back.
My goodness. Thank you, Sandra, for having me.
Yay. Okay, so let's go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about you. You started about 12 years ago. You've been doing this for 12 years.
Yes.
Amazing. You know what? Let me ask you, rather than to tell our listeners, you tell our listeners, how did you get started in interior design?
Well, really, I've been designing my whole life, as long as I can remember. My mother was a fashion designer in college, but when she graduated, she took the first good job that she landed, and that was with an oil company. So very boring work. She was a manager. But weekends was our fun time together. She was the first weekend warrior before that term was ever coined.
Right.
And I was her little apprentice. So as long as I can remember. But officially, when my youngest son was born, I went back to school and I got my degree.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I know I've seen some of your work. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
I love it. You need to come over to my house and do it.
Soon,
okay.
very soon.
So, but let me go ahead and ask you. Now, in today's market, the houses come on and 2 days later, I'm getting 40 offers on a house. Mm-hmm. So is it still a good idea to stage a house right now?
It really is. But of course, it's a case-by-case basis. It depends on what price point you're in. And it depends on if there's furniture already in the home. But as you know, the longer a house stays on the market, the lower the price will go. So we want to get a house sold quickly. And we also want to get multiple offers.
Yes.
So if you're showing it in its best light, its absolute best light, you will get multiple offers. And so your price will get driven up. So, yes, houses are going, the market is really, really hot right now, and that's cool. But depending on the situation, you want to stage. Also, you have to think about there are microclimates, if you will, in San Diego. So whether you're living in Rancho Bernardo or Bonita or La Mesa, homes aren't selling the same rate in different pockets of the city. So you really want to take that house, on a one-by-one.
Make it look its best. No,
Absolutely.
So what are some of the tips that you can give our listeners for those, like me says, I could do this. I think I want to try.
Right. So first, you've heard it, declutter, declutter, declutter. You want to take down family photos, also religious, relics, and you want to make your closets look like they can hold a lot of things. So take out half of your wardrobe. That might be the most simple thing you can do is take out your winter or your summer or whatever you're not using and go ahead and box it up and store it. You're moving anyway. So let's thin things out and make it look more spacious so that people won't wonder, will all my things fit here?
That's a great tip. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, you know what? I think we need to have like a revolving closet wardrobe somehow. So much clothes.
I agree.
Now, I always hear that, yes, take down personal pictures and any religious artifacts or a cross or something. But is that because you don't want to offend the person who's coming into your home or because it's too personalized? What's the reason why?
Well, there are many reasons. The main reason is you want the focus to be on the features of the house. So whatever it is in the house that's going to make it shine, whether it's the fireplace or a grand staircase, a beautiful kitchen, you don't want to distract from these things. And those little things, even though they're microseconds that the person walking through is going to notice that, it's taking the focus away. And then secondary, yes, you don't want to offend anyone. You want them to imagine themselves living there.
Right.
And so that's a really good way to
But you know what? You're right. Now that I think back when I'm looking through a home, if I see Deja, I don't know if you do this. If I see pictures, I'm like, ooh, who's that?
Yeah.
I admit it. I do it.
That's cute.
Can I ask Nikki a question?
Sure, absolutely.
Nikki, you have a great reputation. You do such a great job with your designing these homes that are for sale. If I buy one, can I buy it furnished with all the things you put in?
That absolutely happens. That happens often when we did such a wonderful job. Maybe they're moving from out of town or relocating, and they want the home to come furnished, and we will allow that to happen.
Well, because my wife's a lousy decorator, and you would be great.
Oh,
so.
geez. is going to be so mad you said that, because I heard quite the contrary.
Yeah. Where was she, Doug?
Well, my wife did found Century 21, and she knows what you're talking about. It's very important to her, and her passion is design. And she did a home for the Spogleys in Rancho Santa Fe, and then President Bush appointed Mr. Spogley to be the ambassador to Italy. And so when they got there, Mrs. Spogley wasn't too pleased. It hadn't been done by Nikki, and so she didn't know Nikki, so she asked Peggy to do the U.S. Embassy in Rome. So that's kind of an exciting thing for my wife to have done.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. I could just think, just in your mind, you're thinking, oh, wow, what are the possibilities to be able to do something like that, and all the different ideas and creativity and, so much good information that you have, Nikki. So let me ask you one more thing, though. When you're staging a home, okay, if I could only do one thing, what would be the thing to do for home staging?
The thing to do is to do a fresh paint job. Whether you do it yourself or hire out, a $500 to $600 investment will give you a return of $1,500 to $2,000.
Really?
So that's an automatic 300%, return on your investment. So a clean, fresh coat of paint will do wonders.
And do you recommend that they paint the entire house, or just maybe the living room, family room, kitchen, the things, not so much the personal bedroom areas?
No, I would paint the entire house. A lot of times you'll find bedrooms, kid bedrooms, or even, the master suite will have really fun colors because it's a place to personalize. You want to depersonalize. You want a nice, clean slate there.
Okay, so if our listeners are out there saying, you know what, Sandra, I need to have Nikki come and take a look at my house. I'm thinking about selling it. Or maybe they just want your fabulosity of, transforming their home into just a lovely paradise. Can they get a free consultation with you as well?
Absolutely, Sandra.
Hey, there you go. That's what I love to hear. So go ahead and call us. Call us at 888-571-9595. Nikki, tell them again, you will give them a free consultation?
Yes, Sandra, just for you.
She said yes. Okay, so 888-571-9595. I'll say it one more time, 888-571-9595. Lots of good information today, Deja.
I am sitting here envisioning my house going, what can I do? I mean, other than cleaning out my closet, which is probably what I need to, but it's just great advice. And I'm wondering, what color should people paint the interiors of their house?
When they're staging?
Yeah.
So something that's a little warmer than a white.
Okay.
Not the builder, Adobe,
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Like white.
So something a little warm. That's why you see the trend with the kind of a tan
beigey kind of colors, right?
Like sand or something. Yeah. Okay.
But if you can do something fun, maybe an accent wall, but that's still pleasing to the general population.
Fabulous, fabulous. Lots of really good information. I know that during the break, we had a question for Doug. You had a question for Drew, actually, about bankruptcy. Did you want to go ahead and ask him?
My questions to Drew were, what can I do to avoid having to go through bankruptcy? Because I'm trying to give our clients asset protection with corporations, limited partnerships, and other vehicles. And if they're having lawsuits filed against them, what can you do to prevent having to go through bankruptcy, if you have thoughts on that?
Well, probably the number one thing, if it's possible for an investor, is not to sign a personal guarantee.
That is, I totally agree with you. That is the number one thing that brings financial people down.
Yeah.
And I know one of the questions that we had for you is, what is the primary cause of
Yes, what is
bankruptcy?
the primary cause, Drew?
In my experience, divorce is the primary cause of bankruptcy. It causes financial havoc on families, and that's been my experience. I would describe that as the number one cause. Probably...
even more so than medical? Are you finding any medical come through, or mostly divorce?
Absolutely. People
Both?
have healthcare debt, yes, but it is not as much of a driver in my experience as the dissolution of marriage. Also, second mortgages on homes is another big cause of bankruptcy too, where there is recourse and a person can be sued, or personal guarantees, as Doug addressed. And he also mentioned how can I avoid liability. Setting up an entity for an investment property, an LLC, or whatever state that property is located in, is important to protect liability on the property. Another thing to look into is, what state is this property being purchased in, and what are the laws regarding recourse on mortgages in that state.
A major example of that is the first LLC, limited liability legislation in the United States, was Wyoming on January 1st, 1979. I'm probably the first lawyer ever to do one on January 5th up in Jackson Hole. But in California, if you do an LLC, many listeners and accountants and lawyers don't know that California is user adverse to LLCs. Instead of having $800 a year to the California Franchise Tax Board, you could go up to $20,000 a year. So I never set up LLCs in California for that very reason. You could accomplish the same results with a limited partnership and couple it with a corporation and get double asset protection.
So much good information today on the show. We've covered VA buyers. For those of you who are thinking, you know what, Sandra, I want to buy a VA, buy something with my VA loan. So, and even for those listeners out there who have had short sales, Deja, I know that we've helped several people that have had a short sale, and now it's time to get back into the market, right?
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting, something that Drew had just talked about, the causes of bankruptcy. And we see some of those very similar situations. I think it's a cause of financial issue across the board, but we see them in short sales and we see them in foreclosures. And the way that we deal with those and from a lending perspective is much different. If it's a medical issue and it's a major medical illness, sometimes these waiting periods for short sales and foreclosures may be waived.
Yep. The best thing to do, you guys, is to give us a call. Call us right now. Call us at 888-571-9595. Remember that we're going to have our event, the First Time Home Buyer Seminar, May 22nd. I want to see all of you guys there. Have a wonderful weekend. Go to our podcast page at loverealestateradio.com. Talk to you soon.
Love Real Estate on 760 KFNB.